This is the Vietnamese national gown, better known as the Ao Dai. Each dress is designed to be unique and have a custom fit to the individual. This requires over 20 different body measurements to create. Today, it is usually worn for traditional festivities such as Vietnamese New Year, tea ceremonies, weddings, graduation, and funerals. All white Ao Dais are worn as uniform for high school and university females in Vietnam. The Ao Dai exudes the elegance, innocence, and modesty of the Vietnamese women representing our nationalism. This is not an Ao Dai. This Australian clothing brand named Misha posted a photo wearing what looked like an Ao Dai, except it was shorter and she wasn't wearing any pants. It is supposed to be paired with long silk trousers, not with the genital region exposed. The Misha website even listed the Ao Dai as a 90s vintage oriental dress and was selling it for $95. Aside from this Ao Dai, they were also selling clothes that resembled the cultural clothing of multiple different countries and trying to pass them off as vintage and high fashion.
This is hanbok, the representative example of traditional Korean dress. It is characterized by vibrant colors and simple lines without pockets. Hanbok usually refers specifically to clothing of the Joseon period and is worn as a semi-formal or formal wear during traditional festivals and celebrations. This picture shows a foreign student in South Korea accused of cultural misappropriation for wearing hanbok. In her post, she included a caption referencing a K-pop star wearing similar hanbok in a show. I believe this case is not considered cultural appropriation. In this case, this act is for a cultural day run by the university in Korea she attends for the exact purpose of trying to familiarize foreigners with Korean culture. The student tries to learn more of Korean culture, not necessarily harm or violate collective intellectual property rights of minority cultures. Instead of simply assuming someone is culturally appropriating another culture, we should learn their purpose of wearing another culture's clothing.
This is the Chola style, and it's an aesthetic created by the marginalized Mexican-American youth of Southern California and embodies the remarkable strength and creative independence it takes to survive in a society where your social mobility has been hindered by racism. The Chola identity was conceived by a culture that dealt with gang warfare, violence, and poverty on top of conservative gender roles. The clothing these women wear were more than a fashion statement, they were the signifiers of the struggle and hard-worn identity. This picture is of a model who is displaying Ricardo Tirici's creation of a Chola Victorian look. This fashion piece proves to be misappropriating my Mexican-American culture by stripping the context and meaning of its origin and making it into a costume. It gets rid of the struggle and understanding of the systematic oppression and discriminations that plagued Latino communities in the United States. Since the fashion aesthetic is part of an old subculture that has no big following in today's generation, the only way to appreciate this aesthetic is to learn more about its history and its influence in the Mexican-American community.
Dragon often symbolizes as the highest power. It represents the majesty of the emperor in our tradition. Dragon is a very divine and influential image to us. In the Victoria's Secret fashion show 2016, supermodel Elsa Hoss appeared on the runway with a dragon figure wrapped around her body while she was in her underwears. I was shocked when I first saw this outfit. It not only oversimplified Chinese culture, it also sexualized a divine symbol for profits. Victoria's Secret was trying to attract more potential customers in its Chinese market. This is Orientalism. My culture is used as a marketing tool by the white-dominant culture to gain profits from us. In this case, the designer only had a superficial understanding of our culture. Victoria's Secret targets its customers mainly to the younger generations, and outfits like this can reinforce the wrong impression of Chinese culture as a minority group in the white-dominated society.
As seen in the results we got back from a survey we sent out on our social media platforms, 63.2% of people felt that their culture was misappropriated. Examples include sombreros and ponchos to represent people from Latin America, calling all Asians Chinese, misuse of headdresses and traditional designs of Native American culture by Urban Outfitters, Victoria's Secret, Coachella, Paul Frank. So what now? Is this topic important? What can we do? 100% of people felt that their further discussion of this topic was important. 94.1% said that they would try to avoid misappropriating other cultures by not buying things, thinking before they wore something, education and awareness, and acknowledging the people from these communities and respect the value of the piece of clothing has to said given culture.